Hi, PerspectaWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Monday, January 7th. A lot to talk about this morning. First of all, longer term, it looks like the pattern is definitely evolving into a colder pattern, a snowier pattern. We've been talking about a stratospheric warming event that is still underway, still ongoing, and it is resulting in some changes in the atmosphere that will set off a chain of events that will lead to a colder and snowier pattern. In fact, this particular week looks like it'll be quite cold, quite a bit colder than the last couple of weeks here in the eastern and central part of the U.S. There's a frozen precipitation threat late tonight, early tomorrow morning. It's primarily from the Pennsylvania-Maryland border north. Very windy conditions expected in the middle part of the week on Wednesday and Thursday. Winds could gust up to 40 or 50 miles per hour in the I-95 corridor region. Perhaps some power outages as a result. And for the upcoming weekend, there is a snow threat. There'll be a couple of systems to watch. One in the northern stream, one in the southern stream. If they can phase together at just the right time, it could turn out to be a significant snow event this week. But nonetheless, in any case, there is a snow threat for the upcoming weekend. This is a map showing the temperature anomalies for the past couple of weeks from around Christmas time to now, and basically a nation divided with much warmer than normal conditions here in the eastern half of the nation over the past couple of weeks, much colder than normal throughout much of the western part of the U.S. with significant snowfall. Places like the Sierra Nevada continue to get pounded by snow, a couple of feet of snow over the next day or two, and that includes some of the snow that fell over the weekend. This will change dramatically this week. Colder than normal conditions expected for the upcoming week in the eastern and central U.S. Well, before we get to the current weather conditions and the outlook for this upcoming week, I just want to kind of look ahead here. And again, we've been talking about a pattern change, partly as a result of the stratospheric warming event that's unfolding. Other things are going on. There are other signals as well. The MJO we often talk about here, the Madden-Julian oscillation, is a tropical disturbance. It looks like it is headed towards colder and colder phases for the eastern and central U.S. over the upcoming couple of weeks. This is a current look at the 500 millibar height anomaly, a pattern across the northern hemisphere, kind of a top-down view here of the North Pole here, the polar region right in here. This is Greenland, and here we are in the U.S. right here. Just want to point out that the big changes that look like they're on the way, maybe over the next 10, 12, 14 days or so, and that should result in more sustained cold, potentially even some severe cold for the central and eastern U.S. First of all, right now, we have a large ridge here in the eastern part of the U.S., and notice over places like Greenland, I often talk about high latitude blocking. Yes, there is a strong high pressure ridge near Greenland, but over in this region right here, nothing too impressive in terms of a blocking pattern with higher than normal heights, higher than normal pressures. Watch what happens in about 12 days or so. And here we go. This is about 12 or 13 days out, around the 20th or 21st of January. Look at the big difference now, first of all, in the eastern U.S. Large-scale upper-level trough here in the eastern U.S. And the orange here represents higher heights than normal, higher pressures than normal. This is kind of a classic-looking pattern, if you like, cold and snow in the eastern and central U.S. with ridging across the north and northwest of the eastern U.S., a trough in the east, another trough out over the Aleutian Islands out here in the Pacific Ocean. This is the pattern. Looks like the way it's evolving, again, over the next couple of weeks. And before we even get to this, this will produce some sustained cold in the eastern and central U.S., maybe even some severe cold. We have a cold week ahead right here. A very cold air mass moved from southeastern Canada through New England last night into the mid-Atlantic region. Temporary. It warms up tomorrow afternoon, but then another very chilly air mass comes in on Wednesday and Thursday. Let's get to the short-term outlook here. Well, here's the current surface map, and again, talked about this last week. Always like to look for a cold high to the north if you ever have a desire for snow, for example. And we have very cold air mass, southeastern Canada, slid southward through New England last night into the mid-Atlantic region. Low to mid-20s this morning in the suburbs of Philadelphia. Meanwhile, low pressure will push from the northern plains, the south-central part of Canada, to the Great Lakes. It does stay to the north here, but with this kind of cold air in place, it sets the stage for some frozen precipitation later on tonight into early tomorrow, primarily from the Pennsylvania-Maryland border on north. Could even be some small snow, ice accumulations in places like the Philadelphia suburbs, New Jersey, New York City suburbs, maybe even some slick spots on the roads late tonight, early tomorrow morning. Well, let's now walk through last night's 0Z GFS model run. Again, we're starting off with very cold air across the northeastern part of the nation. Low pressure headed towards the Great Lakes region. Let's push ahead. These maps, by the way, available on tropicaltidbits.com. Yes, the high does slide off the coast, and that will allow some milder air to move in late tonight, especially during the midday and afternoon hours on Thursday. But before we get to that point, it certainly can be some frozen precipitation in the form of snow and sleet, or a mixture of snow, sleet, and rain from the Pennsylvania-Maryland border north late tonight, early tomorrow, maybe even just south of the border in the far northern part of Maryland. There can be some ice pellets. Let's push ahead. Eventually, on Tuesday, milder air does push in, probably 50-plus degrees in D.C., Philadelphia, and New York City on Tuesday afternoon. And then another disturbance, basically another low-pressure area with its associated strong cold front, arrives later tomorrow night. Looks like probably in the form, there'll be more precipitation probably in the form of plain rain, although late tomorrow night could be some ice pellets or snowflakes mixed in north of the Pennsylvania-Maryland border. Basically, a very strong cold front will swing through the region tomorrow night, usher in a very cold air mass for Wednesday and Thursday, and the winds will pick up quite dramatically. Let's move ahead now into late Tuesday night, and here we are on Wednesday. This system over New England on Wednesday morning will continue to intensify, and that pressure gradient will tighten. Very strong winds out of the north-northwest. Look at this tight pressure gradient here in the mid-Atlantic region on Wednesday. Again, winds could gust past 40, maybe even 50 miles per hour. Power outage is a possibility. A very cold air mass, well below normal for this time of the year. This is Thursday morning. Still very impressive pressure gradient. Stays windy and cold on Thursday, and very cold on Friday, although the winds will relax some. And here we go. By the time we get to Saturday morning, low pressure over the Gulf of Mexico will try to get organized and move to the northeast. It looks like snow could break out in the mid-Atlantic region later Saturday night. And let's move forward here. Again, these maps from tropicaltidbits.com. Here we are by Saturday night. Quite an impressive setup here if you are a snow lover. There will be a wave of energy in the northern stream cutting across southeastern Canada, and a southern stream wave of energy. If they can phase together at just the right time, this could turn out to be a pretty decent snow event. But the players on the field, quite impressive, namely cold, strong, Arctic high, southeastern Canada. You love to see that if you're a snow lover. Down here in the Gulf of Mexico, low pressure. And again, that will try to get organized, strengthened near the East Coast. Snow is possible up and down the I-95 corridor during the week, and we're talking later Saturday and Sunday. Still just too early to say if this will phase together and turn out to be a significant snow event or just a nuisance snow event, but certainly the weekend poses a threat for snow in D.C., Philadelphia, New York City. Before we get there, we have a lot of weather to get through. Frozen precipitation late tonight, early tomorrow could cause some slick spots, maybe even small accumulations of snow and ice, primarily from the Pennsylvania-Maryland border north. Very cold air for Wednesday and Thursday with very strong winds gusting up to perhaps 50 miles per hour or so in D.C., Philadelphia, and New York City. So a much different weather pattern this week, and looks like longer term compared to what we've experienced over the past couple of weeks. That's it for now. For PerspectaWeather.com, I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.